Alright, so this is a mesh that I've been sculpting, and I've been referencing a MetaHuman mesh, and it's an asset provided by Epic Games that you can go and use their asset creator, and the MetaHuman team has been kind enough to actually work with Epic Games and to release this for free. Now you can see that there could be a blend that you can use for the head mesh, and you can um, basically merge different kinds of faces together, and that's really cool. And then you can use body presets, and the anatomical accuracy I would say is 90 to 95%. And there's higher fidelities out there, but they might cost 80 bucks just for some hands or just stuff like that. I saw some really nice stuff. Texture XYZ is pretty great, but these are free. And so using them is a great privilege to understand anatomical accuracy. And I'm not very understanding of the exact references of what each body part might be called, but I'm grateful to understand the gist of it. So today what I'd like to show you is that I have a back here for the model that I have been working on, and it is definitely interesting to think about the back right now being different from the MetaHuman one. So the workflow that I'd like to show you today is that when you push control and you have mask pen, it's usually 100% on the mask. Now you can see the difference here. It has a very strong mask, and you intermediate to beginners would usually try to just blur it. But what you can do is bring the RGB intensity down of mask pen or whatever masking system you're using for the brush, and you can see it's a lot softer. So what I'll show you here is if we flip this so that this is highlighted now, and then we turn on the eye icon for the MetaHuman, and then so as we can see this is the MetaHuman, and then we highlight the asset we're going to project the data to. We come down to project and we go to project all, and you can set these settings to whatever you want. We're going to see that the transference of the data isn't necessarily 100%. It's around a lesser percentage, and as you can see, it's a very soft transfer, and there's not as nearly as much work as you might need to do at 100% transfer. So this kind of projection workflow is much better when you use a softer mask. That being said, I mean, if you use 100%, you're going to get accurate data. So 1 to 1, whereas this is like 1 to 0.5 as an example. And just to show again, it's not necessarily that it's bad to copy, but sometimes you just don't know what you're doing, and that's okay. So as you're learning and you're a beginner to intermediate and even in the later stages, sometimes you just have to come back and try to understand what you've been doing wrong or what you've been trying to get right, and you can just go from there. So thank you. So the second thing that I'd like to show you is that sometimes when you're sculpting faces, they come out a little thin. And that's not necessarily the fault of how you're sculpting, but when you try to create specific points like the eyes, the ears, the nose, and the mouth, they are focused upon intently, and you get so focused on it that, just as an example, you get so focused and so focused and so focused, you just don't realize the distortion that you might actually be putting there in comparison to the ratio of the entire face. Now, if we move the eyes up even slightly, this looks like a completely different face. And, maybe that wasn't a great moving of the eyes, but even right there, the little subtle difference of how much a face might have in terms of ratio makes the face look completely different. And so it just depends on what you're trying to aim for, because some faces will actually be, more like this, a longer face, or things like that. It doesn't mean that it's bad. It does mean that you're going to have to do work to make that face have a ratio for the eyes, the nose, the mouth, and the ears, and of course the cheeks and the jaw and the head ratio itself. But what I'd like to teach you today is something that you can do with a thin face that you just don't understand. Why doesn't it look good? And what you can have is the same thing that I just taught you in the previous thing, which is soft masking, essentially. And then you come down here to deformation, and you come to inflate, and I'll do 2, just as an example. It's probably 1 that should be there, but just as an example. And in fact, that's 2. I'll do another deformation, and there's 1. I'll duplicate that, and I'll come back here to the original, and mask is off. Now, this face already looks pretty good in my opinion. It's not perfect, but that's okay. Come over here, come over here. This is where it has like more fat tissue. And you can see it looks pretty good. And a little less, and a little less. Perhaps it wasn't the most perfect example to use, but some of faces that you might be sculpting really look like they could use some kind of muscle, some kind of fat within the skin itself. And this is a way to do this pretty cheaply, pretty easily, instead of manually sculpting it. So thank you. This is a female hair asset that I got from a female model, and I got it on ArtStation by an artist named Ordeska. And he does very good work, and he releases on his storefront on ArtStation 3D models that you can download and study and use as reference or use in your art. And they're really cool. He also makes YouTube videos that are tutorials, and he's very intelligent and intuitive and explains a lot of the process of how he does art. So I recommend him greatly to go check him out. Now, this is my female model that I made, but his are more stylized, and they're really good. Like, they're really, really good, so I recommend them. But the female hair base mesh that I have here, I decimated over here. And as you can see, it's polygonal, and it works really well to kind of silhouette what would be a high poly sort of blobby hair mesh is now very sharp and angular, and it does a great job of projecting kind of volume. So you can use it in game assets, or you can use it for a quick base. And I'm going to show you what it means to use a quick base. So this is a sphere, and this sphere right here is very interesting. And we'll just do that like this, and you know what, make it a little smaller, and we'll do this, maybe a little like that, and then we'll go use the rake brush, and the intensity is down a bit, and the draw is like that, and we'll just start, I don't know, doing a really basic job. I guess 10 is pretty okay. Alright. And, you know, we'll just keep going. And there we go. And maybe more intensity. And I guess we'll do some of this. And, well, you get the point. I'm not really in the mood right now, so it's really difficult. And I'm having a pretty tense time trying to make this tutorial. So anyway. Just a little more shaping. Sometimes it takes a little while to actually get anything that looks like it could work. I guess that's the point about hair in general and what you try to do. But I think that'll work just to show you. But maybe, hang on, let me do this a little different. We do this, and we'll do that, and let's see. Yes, I'll do this. Turn off this hair. Here we go. Go back to the rake brush. And there we go. A lot more of that. And there we go. Ooh, that's pretty good. And it's almost looking like something. It's a little bit more. You could do it a lot faster, I'm sure. But, alright, so. Alright. So, preprocessed current, it looks pretty good. And I guess, we'll start at 1K decimal. And as you can see, it's already pretty interesting. But, decimate current. And, oh, my bad. Pre-processed current. And then 15% of that. And so now you got this interesting kind of hairstyle. And it's not necessarily that it looks incredible, but that it actually sort of looks like hair. I think that's pretty cool. So, yeah, you could just use this as a way to do low poly kind of stuff, as a way to get a sort of angle. I mean, that looks pretty cool. And of course, if you spent more time on this, it would definitely look interesting to a bigger degree, I guess. But I think I'm happy with what occurred. So, thank you very much for listening, and I hope you guys have a great day.